This is really getting fun, celebrating milestones. This is something that we knew was coming for many, many years, but we have a pedestrian bridge which is a gateway arch now to our city. Something that really frames this wonderful north entrance to our city. It will be a symbol of the cooperation that we've all extended as a community. It seems as if this has all been done so seamlessly, and that's again because of the credit that goes to this wonderful, wonderful Trails Council. So let's start right now by showing our great appreciation for the Jefferson County Trails Council. And of course, the inimitable, indestructible, ever-present, energetic, all possibilities, Ron Blair. And today we also honor the memory of a man who was a big, big part of this trail complex and a lot of the bridge planning, a local engineer, a dear friend, someone who really gave very generously of himself, so much so that when this bridge was planned, it was just very simply automatic that his name would bear the honor and the title of this bridge, and that is Bill Matkin, and his wonderful family is here with us today. His wife Fran.
Some of the things that we do, we fill in washouts in the trails. If a hard, heavy rain, we cut back the brush. Like Ron mentioned, the trees that fell off the trail, we'll cut those out. I'm just really glad to be part of this, and I'm excited for our future. So thank you.
Over the past 5-6 years, I don't know how many trail ribbon cuttings we've been involved with. Ron has got me up here. And they don't get old. I mean, they're very exciting. We had a little ceremony this summer on the bypass trail. But this project here is an exceptional project. Such a beautiful bridge. People coming in town, they can see something like this, and they know that they're coming into a special place, a special community.
We tend to associate curved lines with nature, and we tend to associate angular lines with the built environment. So that makes this bridge a perfect metaphor for the trail system, because the trails link our city life in Fairfield with the adjacent environment of the natural and the rural environment. So it's perfect as a gateway and as this metaphor for the entire trail system in our community.
So Greg is my personal trail hero as far as contractors here in Fairfield go. Greg, along with his brother Roger and Gus Schaus, generously donated many hours of help with this project. They put in a big vertical 6x6s, which all of our deck stands on. I asked Lance, and Lisco is willing and able and happy to bring in the lighting from the entry sign that's down about 700 feet, and to do boring and trenching and to bring lighting all the way up to this bridge. And it's a huge donation worth several $1,000s, so greatly appreciated. And Steve is actually going to do all of the lighting here on this bridge, so please give a warm applause. Okay. You really should see our website. It's award-winning. It's jeffersoncountytrails.org, and not only has Jeff helped design it and maintain it, but he has chronicled this entire project from the very first digging to where we are right now, and has put all those photos on the website. And so please give Jeff some applause. I think everybody knows AJ, those initials, and owner of AJ Bikes. He's a proud member of the Trails Council. He is one of the foremost proponents of alternative transportation for the citizens of Fairfield. The last thing I would like to ask is for every volunteer who helped build this bridge. That would be Jason, Tom Pappin, Everybody who worked on this bridge and literally saved us about $70,000 in labor. I would like all those people to also come up right now and be recognized.
Get the scissors on up there.
All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yay! All right.
One of the very neat things about this bridge was that Bill knew before he died that the Trails Council had agreed to name it for him, and he was so pleased. He was so pleased. The structural engineer does the hidden things, like the architect gets all the credit and the builders, everybody sees what the builder does, but the engineer does what's hidden. And so a lot of what Bill did went fairly well, unacknowledged. So he was really, really thrilled to have this bridge to be named after him. And on behalf of him and behalf of all of us, thank you from us for the people who donated money, the people who worked tireless hours to make this into a reality, to make this little link, the Bill Matkin Bridge. One of his detractors, one of the first houses that he built, that he designed down here, the man said, oh, all this money, all these hours, and then, oh my gosh, you're building it so strong, it's just crazy, and a lot of abuse. He got a lot of abuse on that house. About 10 years later, the same man watched his neighbor's roof blow off and stood there and said, oh, I'm so pleased I had Bill Matkin. That's a true story. Somebody said to me, when I see that little bridge, when I drive under that little bridge, it makes me smile, because Bill made me smile. So I'm wanting to say to you that when you go under this little bridge, smile. And then realize that this bridge is an upside down smile. And that suits Bill's sense of humor.
My mom and dad have baby pictures together. Their parents knew each other. Then they started dancing, and that was it. They were sold. And I think my dad told her when they were dancing that she better be serious about him, because he thought he was falling in love.
My father really enjoyed living in Fairfield. The small town, the wonderful people, working with everyone. He just loved designing houses. He was a pulp mill designer in Canada, and so it was such a joy for him to have these houses to build. He built over 100 Stepacevate houses in Fairfield, offices and houses around here. This is just such a beautiful representation of him, because it's a connection between the university and the whole of Fairfield. It's just pulling everything together, so it's just such a perfect thing.
As some of you know, he had a way of communicating with you what he needed. And one day I was nailing up joist hangers. And it's something that I've done my whole career, and I've hated it every time. It's just a very painstaking little job, and your raw fingers are close to steel, and there's a chance of hitting your fingers. And so I mentioned to him once, I said, do we have to fill every hole? And he said, they wouldn't have put them in there if they didn't want them fuller. So that, that was the end of the argument. He was a great man, had great manners. You never got a raw word out of him unless you didn't put enough joist hangers. It's just about as rough as it got. Thank you.